6th. It's about 8:45, Monday morning, June 6th. You are watching the Knits and Beads podcast. I'm your host, Lorelei Yurdo. I'm a jewelry designer who knits in her free time and now apparently sews in her other free time. Her free time. I'm having trouble getting back into the swing of things after the weekend because I basically was home all weekend, and Joe, he paints houses a lot and he had a painting job this past weekend. So he worked all weekend, so that just gave me time to sew all weekend long, and I loved it. But now it's Monday and I'm having trouble trying to get back into work mode. But anyway, thought I would podcast while I have some time before I go up to the studio to make jewelry today. So, this is usually a predominantly knitting podcast, but I've recently started sewing. So there's going to be a little extra sewing content in today's episode as well. I do have some knitting though, and I'll get started talking about that. So I don't have any finished objects, unfortunately, but works in progress, I have started a couple of things. The first thing is I have joined a knit along with my friend Amanda of the Amanda Makes podcast. She is hosting a toe up 2 at a time sock cal, and I showed you the yarn I picked out for that, I think last week, and I got my socks cast on and the toes started. I'm housing this in my little owl bag from Daisy Said. Check out her store, Daisy Said, that's SAID .etsy.com. I've got my needles on this, in this needle cozy matching. I'm knitting these on my size 1 ChiaoGoo red lace needles. And I'm going to try not to get these all tangled up. Half the battle for this 2 at a time business is keeping things from getting all tangled up. So literally have like the toes done. Not too much. I actually am not following a pattern yet. I'm just going to get the toes done and then I'll go from there, but I'll probably just do vanilla socks through the foot, and then when I get to the heel, I'll try to figure something out. I really like the look of a heel flap and gusset, and I believe I've heard that the Sockmatician has possibly done a new tutorial for toe-up socks with that type of heel, so I'm going to check that out for sure. I'm using Stranded Dye Works, and this is her Funfair color. It's so fun. It definitely is a fun fair. That's a fun affair. So far so good. Like I said, I have the most trouble keeping everything kind of from not getting tangled. So because of that, I highly doubt that these will be quicker than a typical pair of socks, 1 at a time, because there's just a lot of like fussing with the yarn. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about those socks. Not totally loving the process, but it's what it is. So that is my one work in progress. I haven't been working on my linen market bag So I'm not going to show it to you this week because there hasn't been any progress on it. It's, yeah, meh. I can't work on it a lot because it hurts my hands. Something about the yarn hurts my hands. It's just not stretchy. I think that's why. So I talked about this, I think, the last couple of weeks, that I wanted to start working on the Gleam Shawl by Lisa Much of NBK Knitting. Let's see if I can find a good picture for you. There's a picture of it on every page here. I don't want to show you the pattern. So it's kind of a cool shawl with drop stitches. And she uses a DK weight. But the Grocery Girls podcast that I was watching several weeks ago, this was one of their first episodes, I think. Tracy showed off her A Gleam shawl, and she used Miss Babs' Yowza Wettiscane, which is a light worsted, and I'm not sure how much of a difference it is between that and DK, but I feel like the shawl is probably not going to be as big as it looks in the pictures. Because when you look at it, like for example, here she's holding it stretched out. I mean, it's pretty long. That's like longer than her wingspan, I'm sure. She also uses a merino wool with silk in it, and my Miss Babs doesn't have any silk, so I worry about the drapiness of it, but we'll see what happens. So I'm almost to the end of ball number 1. I have one more ball in here. Let's see if I can show this to you so that it makes sense. So here it is. It's growing. It's lopsided only because I am working on the one side with the short rows. And I have to do the other side with the short rows, but you kind of see those drop stitches in there. The color is pretty though. I like the color a lot. And obviously it's going to stretch out quite a bit when I block it, and I think I'm going to block it pretty aggressively just to gain some wingspan on it. But we'll see how that works out. So yeah, here it is, the A Gleam. The colorway I'm using from Miss Babs is called Flabbergasted. And it's really kind of a nice project to work on. I've been, it hasn't really been too hot, so I've been able to work on it. And it's a lot of garter, which is kind of nice and mindless. And I just love the drop stitches, but I do notice that if I don't really try to do my yarn overs kind of loosely, it is a bear to kind of shove them along the needle, especially when I've done quite a few, like that second row of this third row of drop stitches was long, and it was a lot of like pushing and pulling and trying to get them slipped over the needles. That was kind of tough, but I got through it. There is one last row of those on the full length of the shawl, so that's going to be tricky. So I don't anticipate finishing this before my next podcast, but you never know. Maybe. But I do recommend this project if you are looking to do something by Lisa Much. Her patterns are so beautiful. But I definitely think that if I was to knit this again, I will knit it in a DK weight with a silk blend just to get the drapey effect. And I'm keeping this in my Fawn and the Fox project bag that I recently bought in her Etsy update. This is such a pretty bag. It's perfect size for a shawl. Perfect, perfect. So that's really all I have for knitting content today. I have been playing around with some other shawl ideas that I want to cast on. Joji Locatelli just put out a brand new shawl, and it's like a gold color. It's beautiful. It's got awesome tassels on the ends, and I was thinking of possibly doing that with the Sweet Georgia bulletproof sock that I showed a couple weeks ago that I got through Fiberista Club. I think that would be really beautiful. So I am playing around with that. Maybe I may cast that on. We'll see. We'll see. So I haven't bought any yarn, so I don't have any new yarn to show you, I'm afraid. But I have some other things, so let me just go into talking about new acquisitions. I'll talk about my books first. So I picked up a couple of books recently, sewing related, of course, because of my new addiction to sewing, but this one I picked up at my local Barnes & Noble, the Liberty Book of Simple Sewing, and I love Liberty fabric. Oh, love it, love it. I wish I had more local access to it, but it's just really inspiring. I love all of that, the small floral print. Like, how cute is that? Little cloud billows. So yeah, I just basically bought it because I felt inspired when I was flipping through it in the store. Will I make a lot of these projects? I probably won't, but we'll see. You never know. There's a nice quilt. There's all kinds of little accessory type things. There's a doll. Fabric wrapped letters. Pillows. But I thought it was kind of a sweet little book. And then I placed an order recently through Amazon, and I ordered a couple of more books. This one, another Lotta Jansdottir, because I'm obsessed. And this is Simple Sewing. There's about 24 easy projects in here. All the patterns are in the front in this envelope, which is nice. This is a spiral bound, which is also a nice option. There's a section on kitchen type things, like placemats and pot holders. Then there's a section on bags, where there's totes, a gardening tote, which is super cute, a yoga mat tote, an all-day tote. This is one of my favorite ones. I love that. Kind of a hold everything, everyday bag, nice size, holds a water bottle. So this is definitely one that's on my list of things to try. I love accessories. You know, I'm kind of that way with knitting too. I just like to knit accessories. I like to make accessories. Then there's this section on called Nest, where there's things for the home, wall organizer, pillowcase, tool roll. I really like this hanging wall with pockets. That's kind of fun. I could see hanging something like that in my office for some stuff like this I really love, this magazine holder. So a lot of fun projects in that one there. I think I might like the other book I got a little bit more. There's more clothing and stuff in that one. And then I got this. Handmade Style by Anna Graham. Anna Graham is the creator of the website Noodlehead. You have to go to their site and check out her projects. She's got a tutorial page with some free tutorials. She's got a shop that's chock full. You can buy her book through there. You can buy her patterns. Her patterns are so great. I love every single one of them. They're awesome. And this book is incredible. Like, love those baskets. There's some quilts. There are bags. Love that one. That tote is one of my favorites. This one, love. And I love that dress. And I love that clutch. I just love everything. All of it. All of it. I want to sew all of them. So, yeah, so all weekend I've just been poring over her website, looking at all of the things she has on there. And I made a couple of things. Oh, let me just, first before I get into my sewing projects, I'm going to talk a little bit about some other tools I got recently. These are awesome, like life-saving type of tools, and so I just had to tell you about it. First of all, if you know nothing about sewing, just know that pins, like straight pins, are a pain in the ass. And I poke myself. Leaked all over. Oh my god. Because I didn't. Okay. Great. Nice and wet. It's alright, it'll dry out. Schmeg on there. Okay. Back up. Clips. Pins are a pain. These are the new thing now. These are Evergreen Art Supply multicolor craft clips. There's 50 in here. And they just clip your fabric. They're just little clips to clip around the edges of your fabric, and then you just pull them off as you're sewing. Sewing. So I love these. These have been really great. I use them all the time instead of pins if I can, and they're a-okay. So here's my little iron. I'm so sick to death of pulling out my big fat iron and the big ironing board, which scares the cats to death. I don't know, something about the noise of it. So I saw some video recently where the woman had a little handheld iron, and I thought, well, that sounds like just what I need. So this is actually a steam iron, and it's got a little reservoir for water, and unless I remember to push that little steam button down to close it, it's going to leak. And it did. It just leaked all over my ironing pad. So this is like an ironing pad that you put down on the table, and that's what I can iron on. So then I don't have to pull out my big old ironing board. So yeah, great little tools, even though they're sopping wet. This iron works really great. The only complaint I have about it is that the cord should come off the back. I don't know why it doesn't. It comes off the side, and so I kind of have to hold it out of the way when I'm ironing. I know, that's kind of a pain. I don't know why they did that way. So I keep saying I'm going to do like a little review online for it, but I haven't done it yet. So yeah, that's that. Getting it. It's got a nice it's got a dial on it for different settings, and it works great. It really does. And I've used it all weekend and I like it. So hopefully that'll dry out. So last week, I showed you some of my project bags that I had been working on. I followed another tutorial on YouTube for a boxy style, and I made one of those this past week. Here it is. So I'm sorry if this is boring. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably have already seen these things because I tend to share a lot on there. But I watch a lot of podcasts and I don't mind seeing things twice, so maybe you won't mind. But here's my little boxy tote. This actually I thought was a lot easier than doing the regular zipper bag, kind of this style. I think I will definitely make more of these. I really liked the process, and the only thing I probably should have done was place the zipper pull on the top of the bag by the handle, so then you can kind of hold the handle and unzip it. But mine's the opposite. Oh well. So it's fully lined. I chose to do a little loop handle on it. This is actually bigger than probably what I should have made, but I was just playing around, and so I just made the handle and went ahead and sewed it in on the end. And I don't mind that it's this long. It's kind of nice, I think. And I used the same fabric as I used in the inside. So this has kind of a light interfacing on it, so it's nice and pliable. And yeah, that's my little boxy bag. Very cute. Love it. Yeah, so I've been having fun practicing on all of these things. A lot of people keep asking me if I'm going to sell them, and I might. I don't know. I don't know yet. Keep thinking about it. I feel like there's kind of a lot of this stuff out there, but I don't know what I'm going to do with 1,000 bags after I make them all, so I'll probably have to sell them just to recoup my money and just to be able to afford to keep making things, I guess. So I might put this in a little store. I've been playing around with what I would call it, and I don't know. If you have any suggestions, let me know, but I'm thinking just maybe a little Etsy store or something where I can post things as I make them. I made a couple of different things also this weekend. So Saturday I sewed all day and I created this awesome tote. This is called the 241 tote. And this is an Anna Graham noodlehead pattern. This was not in her book. This is actually from her website. I bought the pattern. So I went ahead and cut up the fabric, and I used a lot of fabric that I already had. So you probably remember this owl fabric that I used in a project bag last week, and some linen, and then this green was the same green that I used in that smaller crossbody bag, my Astrid bag. And so I used that. The handle is linen, and the interior is also linen, and then there's a pocket on the inside with owls. I really love how this bag turned out. It's not stellar, there are some issues. I did have a little bit of issues sewing the top stitching. it's not very even, but for the most part it turned out pretty cute, and it's usable and it worked great. This was my first try at putting in a snap. This is magnetic, and it worked out great, really great. The pockets on the sides are so cute too. I really like them. The pattern has actually a variation where you can choose to put in little zipper pockets here. And I don't know, one shows it with just one little zipper, one pocket. But then another one shows it with a zipper here too. So I don't know if that pocket's shared or if it's two pockets within. Or I don't even know how big the pockets are. It doesn't seem like they would be that big. So I just thought I would go without the zippered pocket, also because I didn't feel like going to Joann's again to buy more zippers. So I just decided not to put the zippers in, but I did put the pocket on the inside, which is nice. So it's a great bag. It's a great roomy little bag. I think I'm definitely going to make this one again, and I may list it for sale. So I actually have some other fabric picked out for my second one already. So that's again the 241 tote. And you can check out everybody's totes that they've made on Instagram. It's the hashtag 241 tote. Put that in and see, there's so many cool like fabric combinations. That was half the fun, is just pulling together 3 coordinating fabrics. So yeah, I love that one. Love it. Then yesterday, I was looking around online and I found a really cool Etsy store that has some nice patterns in it called Sotak Handmade. That's S-O-T-A-K handmade.etsy.com. She's got some kits that are really cute, and there's a tote tutorial that I've favorited. There's all kinds of little bags and totes and things. And I ended up buying a tutorial for her fold-over pouch. And here is how mine turned out. Turned out so cute! I just love it. So I used some really great fabric. This is Lotta Jansdotter fabric that I found at Joann's. I had no idea that they sold it there. There was a couple different ones and that I bought. So I got that blue. It's like a kind of a dusty blue color with this plant like fern type pattern on it. This is a Joann's fabric. And then there's also a Lotta Jansdotter fabric on the inside, which is this like chartreuse green color. Hopefully you can see that. So basically it's about wallet sized. It's not huge. It's got a nice little loop on the side. You could put a key ring on there or whatever to hold your keys or whatnot. So it's got magnetic snaps on the bottom to hold it closed. Those are pretty expensive. Joann's, I found like a pack of 2 and it was $5.99. So luckily I was able to use a coupon for my order, just like $5 off a $35 purchase. It takes me no time to spend $35 in there, that's for sure. It's got a 7-inch zipper. I just picked out this blue color. It's a metal zipper. And it's lined with that chartreuse. There's a little pocket on the inside with this fabric. It's got some pretty stiff interfacing in it, so it was kind of tricky to get it flipped inside out, because you sew it inside out and then flip it right side out. So that was a little bit tricky. I also had a tricky time sewing that opening closed. I feel like I could have done a better job at that. So This bag I'll probably be keeping, but I'm going to be making another one of these, and I think I'm going to try to do it a little bit bigger. I feel like this size is kind of small. I mean, you can't really fit a wallet in here unless it's really small. But you could like take some of your credit cards and your ID out and throw them in the pockets and use it that way. And this would definitely fit your phone perfectly. So this size is cute. I mean, I like the size, but I feel like I might want to do one that's more 12 inches wide and probably, oh, I don't know how big this is, maybe 5 inches. So maybe like 10 by 12. It's just something a little bit bigger. But I really like how this turned out. It's very cute. It's very cute. It was fun to make. So, yeah, those are my sewing bits for the week, for the weekend actually. During the week I'm trying really hard to stay focused and just do jewelry and not like sew or knit all day long, because obviously I need to make cash. But I'm going to try to do that again this week, just make sure I stay focused and stay in the studio and make things for my online stores. There's no sales coming up this week, but there will probably be new jewelry almost every day. Let me remind you where to find me online. So my Etsy store, where I sell jewelry, is LorelaiErdoJewelry.etsy.com. I have a website called LorelaiErdoJewelry.com, or you can find it at LorelaiErdo.com. I'm on Facebook. I have a business page under Lorelai Erdo Jewelry, and I have a personal page. Please feel free to friend me there. I'm Lorelai Hill Erdo. Hill is my maiden name. And I'm also on Instagram and Ravelry under Lorelai Erdo. There is a podcast group on Ravelry under Knits and Beads Podcast. Feel free to join the group. It's pretty quiet right now. I am not participating or hosting any knit-alongs as of yet. But I just figured I would have one anyway, just to, I don't know, just to have one, I guess. But it's a lot, you know, to keep up on all of my business stuff and online social media stuff, and then the podcast, and then the podcast group. So it's a lot. It's a lot. So that's where you can find me online if you're interested in checking out my jewelry. And I'm pretty active on Instagram, so follow me there and you'll see probably my projects regularly being posted. So that's pretty much all I've got. Today is a nice short 30-minute episode. I will hopefully see you next week. I'm hoping that I am going to still have enough content to show you. I know at least I'll have 30 minutes of content, hopefully. So I'll see you next Monday. And thank you to all of you who are checking me out for the first time. I hope that I have said something of interest and you'll come back again. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I know there are so many podcasts out there to watch, and everybody's got their favorites, and if I'm one of the ones you like to watch, I just want to say thank you so much. So I just really love to talk about things I'm making, and I hope that you are enjoying watching what I have to show you. So thanks, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.